Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to dive into the world of operations, maintenance, and commissioning.
Or O&M for short.
Yeah, O&M, you got it.
Yeah.
You've sent us some really interesting resources from Natural Resources Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a training module
Yeah.
and even a video all about making sure buildings run efficiently and sustainably. I'm guessing you're looking to be an O&M pro.
That's right. What's really neat is how these principles apply not just to massive industrial facilities, but pretty much any building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, offices, labs, even your own home.
That's right. When I first saw the title, Operations and Maintenance, I thought, okay, fixing leaky faucets, changing light bulbs, got it. But these materials paint a much bigger picture.
Definitely more than just fixing things when they break.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the sources that you sent highlights a study that found companies relying on what's called reactive maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
So, waiting for something to break before fixing it.
Yeah.
End up spending something like 30% more on repairs.
Wow, 30% more.
Compared to companies using a more proactive approach.
Wow, 30%. That's a serious chunk of change. So what does a proactive O&M program actually look like?
Well, it starts with understanding that effective O&M is really about integrating several key elements.
Okay.
So think of it like this. You've got operations.
Uh-huh.
That's how you use the building.
There too.
You've got maintenance,
Yeah.
keeping everything running smoothly.
Okay.
Then there's engineering,
Right.
ensuring the systems are designed and operating correctly. And of course, you can't forget training for your staff and administrative processes to keep everything organized.
Right.
All of these pieces work together to form what's called the OMETA framework.
OMETA. Okay.
Operations, maintenance, engineering, training, administration.
I love a good acronym. That's great. So
Mhm.
this framework is all about having a holistic approach to building management,
Yeah,
not just reacting to problems as they pop up.
exactly. And the benefits go way beyond just saving money on those repairs.
Okay.
When all these elements work together seamlessly,
Mm.
it can boost a building's energy efficiency, sometimes like between 5 to 20%.
20%. Okay, now that's impressive. A 20% reduction in energy costs.
Yeah.
I'm sure any building owner would be thrilled with that. So where does commissioning fit into this whole OMETA puzzle?
Commissioning is like laying the foundation for a successful O&M program.
Okay.
It's basically a process of ensuring that all the systems in a building are installed correctly,
Uh-huh.
operating as intended, and meeting the building's energy efficiency goals. Think of it like when you buy a new car.
Okay, yeah.
You want to make sure it's been thoroughly inspected and everything's running smoothly before you drive it off the lot.
That's a great analogy. And just like with a car, you wouldn't just inspect it once and call it a day. You'd have regular checkups and maintenance to keep it running in tip-top shape.
You got it. Commissioning isn't a one-time event.
Right.
There's also what's called retro-commissioning,
Okay.
which is basically going back and doing this process for older buildings that were never properly commissioned in the first place.
Right.
And recommissioning,
Okay.
which is done periodically to make sure things are still optimized
Yep.
after the building's been in use for a while.
So we're talking about a continuous process of
Yeah.
checking, tweaking, optimizing building systems
Absolutely.
to ensure that they're running as efficiently as possible. Now, one of your resources mentioned the importance of documentation
Yeah.
during the commissioning process.
Yeah.
What role does that play?
Documentation is absolutely crucial,
Okay.
especially for the O&M team down the line.
Right.
During commissioning, you have the perfect opportunity to create a comprehensive record of all the building systems, equipment, and their intended operation.
It's like having a detailed owner's manual for the entire building.
Precisely. This documentation can be incredibly valuable, for troubleshooting, planning maintenance activities, and even training new staff. Imagine trying to figure out a complex HVAC system without any documentation.
That sounds like a nightmare. Okay, so we've got this fantastic OMETA framework, a thorough commissioning process, and a stack of detailed documentation. But let's be real for a moment.
Sure.
What are some of the hurdles people face when trying to put all of this into practice?
Well, you hit the nail on the head with that last part. Putting it into practice, one of the biggest barriers is simply getting buy-in from management.
Oh, right.
They may not understand the value of O&M,
Right.
especially when it comes to that upfront investment. They might be focused on immediate costs and not seeing those long-term savings.
Right. That's understandable, but short-sighted, especially when we're talking about potential energy savings of up to 20%.
Absolutely. Another common barrier is a lack of adequate training for the O&M team.
Okay.
Building systems are becoming increasingly complex.
Right.
Without proper training, the team might not be equipped to handle the intricacies of these systems.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like trying to fix a computer without any knowledge of software or hardware. You could end up doing more harm than good.
Right. Effective communication and education are key here.
Okay.
We need to speak management's language,
Mm-hmm.
highlight the economic benefits, and emphasize the importance of investing in training for a truly successful O&M program.
So how do we do that? How do we get management on board and convince them that investing in O&M is worth it?
We need to be able to clearly demonstrate the return on investment.
Okay.
Sometimes the best approach is to start small.
Okay.
Pick a specific piece of equipment
Uh-huh.
or system
Okay.
where you can showcase tangible savings,
Right.
and then use that as a case study
Okay.
to illustrate the value of a well-executed O&M program.
So start with a pilot project, track the data, and use that to build a compelling case for expanding the O&M program to other areas of the building. That's a smart strategy. But how do we measure the effectiveness of our O&M program? What are some key metrics to keep an eye on?
There are a bunch of metrics that can give you insights into how well your program is performing. Tracking things like the number of work orders generated
Okay.
and closed out
Yeah.
can help you identify any bottlenecks and areas for improvement in your processes.
So if you're seeing a consistent backlog of work orders,
Right.
that could be a sign that you need more staff,
Yeah,
better training, or a more efficient system for managing those work orders.
exactly. And of course, one of the most important metrics is energy use. If your O&M program is effective,
Right.
you should see a decrease in energy consumption over time.
Okay.
This is where that initial investment starts to pay off in a big way.
So data is key here.
Absolutely.
We need to collect the right information, analyze it to see how our program is performing, and identify areas for improvement. It's not just about intuition or guesswork.
Right.
We need hard data to back up our decisions.
You got it. Speaking of data and making informed decisions,
Yeah.
one concept that's crucial to understand is the component life cycle.
Okay.
Each piece of equipment in a building has a lifespan,
Uh-huh.
and understanding that life cycle can help us make smart choices
Mhm.
about how to maintain and operate that equipment
Mhm.
to get the most out of it.
The component life cycle. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, think of it like your car. The manufacturer provides a maintenance schedule that outlines when you need to change the oil, replace the air filter, and perform other tasks.
Right.
By following this schedule, you're essentially adhering to the design basis of the vehicle, ensuring that it operates within its intended parameters.
Right. And we all know what happens when we neglect those recommended maintenance tasks. Expensive repairs,
Yeah,
reduced performance, maybe even a breakdown at the worst possible time.
exactly. And it's the same principle with building systems.
Okay.
Neglecting maintenance can lead to premature failures,
Right.
decreased efficiency,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately higher cost in the long run.
So how does this concept of a component life cycle tie into the different types of maintenance programs we were discussing earlier? Reactive, preventive, predictive, all that jazz.
It's all connected. Reactive
Yeah.
maintenance, the run it till it breaks
Mm-hmm.
approach,
Right.
completely ignores the component life cycle, leads to unplanned downtime, increased repair costs,
Yeah.
and often damage to other components. Remember that timing belt analogy we talked about earlier?
Yeah, that was a good one. A small, relatively inexpensive part can cause catastrophic damage if it's not addressed in a timely manner. And that's definitely not something you want to deal with, especially in a critical building system.
Absolutely. Now, preventive maintenance takes a more proactive approach.
Okay.
It involves scheduling regular maintenance tasks based on time or usage, like changing filters or lubricating bearings.
So it's like following that car maintenance schedule we talked about.
Precisely. And by doing so,
Okay.
you can extend the life of components
Right.
and
Okay.
maintain energy efficiency. However, preventive maintenance can sometimes lead to performing unnecessary tasks.
Oh, okay.
There's a risk of replacing parts that are still in good condition,
Right.
which can be wasteful.
That makes sense. So it's a step in the right direction, but maybe not the most efficient approach.
Right. That's where predictive maintenance comes in. This approach uses technology and data to assess the actual condition of equipment
Right.
by monitoring things like vibration, temperature, and oil analysis.
Okay.
We can identify potential problems before they lead to failure.
So it's like having a sophisticated system that constantly monitors the health of your equipment
Right.
and alerts you when something needs attention,
Yeah,
allowing you to plan maintenance activities and avoid those costly surprises.
exactly. This allows for planned maintenance,
Mm-hmm.
reduced downtime,
Okay.
and significant cost savings. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Sounds pretty awesome. But I imagine this kind of technology can be a significant investment.
It can be, but the return on investment is often worth it,
Okay.
especially for critical equipment where downtime can have a major impact on operations.
Right.
And there's always the option of contracting out predictive maintenance services if purchasing the equipment outright isn't feasible.
Okay, so we've got reactive, preventive, and predictive. You mentioned one more type of maintenance, reliability-centered maintenance. What's that all about?
Reliability-centered maintenance, or
I
RCM,
oh,
is like the gold standard of maintenance programs.
okay.
It takes the best of predictive maintenance and combines it with a deep understanding of the criticality of each component in a system.
So it's not just about maintaining everything, it's about prioritizing the components that are absolutely essential for the system to function properly.
Exactly. RCM recognizes that not all components are created equal.
Right.
Some are absolutely critical to operations,
Uh-huh.
while others might have a lower impact if they fail. By focusing resources on the most critical components,
Right.
we can ensure maximum reliability and safety.
That sounds really smart, especially for industries where downtime is simply not an option, like in a hospital or a power plant.
Absolutely. Think about nuclear power plants or airlines.
Yep.
In those environments, reliability is paramount. Every component, every system has to be operating at peak performance to ensure safety and prevent catastrophic failures.
Makes total sense. So, with all these different maintenance programs,
Yeah,
how do we convince management to ditch that old school reactive approach
right.
and embrace a more proactive strategy? I mean, the benefits are clear, but sometimes it's hard to get people to change their ways.
It all comes down to demonstrating the value.
Okay.
Remember that steam trap example from one of your sources?
Hmm.
Even a small steam leak can waste a tremendous amount of energy and money.
Right.
And that's just one example.
Yeah.
A well-implemented O&M program can lead to significant reductions in energy consumption,
Okay.
lower operating costs,
Yeah.
increased equipment lifespan, and a safer work environment.
So it's really about presenting a clear business case,
Yeah,
showing how O&M contributes to the bottom line,
absolutely.
and highlighting the potential risks and costs associated with sticking to that outdated reactive approach.
You got it. And it's not just about massive facilities either.
Oh, yeah.
The principles we've been discussing apply to systems of all sizes,
Right.
even down to your home heating system.
So even simple things like changing furnace filters regularly or checking the pressure in your tires can make a difference.
Absolutely. Every little step counts when it comes to efficiency, cost savings, and sustainability.
This has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I'm starting to see O&M in a whole new light. It's not just about fixing things,
Right.
it's about optimizing performance,
Yeah.
maximizing efficiency, and ensuring long-term sustainability.
It really is a fascinating field, and it's constantly evolving as technology advances and our understanding of building systems deepens.
Okay, so we've established that a well-structured O&M program can save money,
Uh-huh.
improve efficiency, and even contribute to a more sustainable future.
Right.
I imagine there are still some skeptics out there,
Oh, I'm sure.
those who might say, this all sounds great in theory,
Right.
but how do I actually make it happen in the real world?
That's a great question, and one we hear often. The key is to remember that implementing a successful O&M program doesn't require a complete overhaul overnight.
Okay.
It's a journey. And like any journey, it's best to start with small, achievable steps.
So what might be a good first step for someone looking to move beyond that reactive, fix it when it breaks mentality?
One of your sources, the training module from Natural Resources Canada,
Mm.
has a really interesting section on this.
Oh, okay.
They suggest focusing on what they call low-hanging fruit. So areas where you can achieve significant improvements with relatively minimal effort.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, well,
For example, one of the most impactful things you can do is improve your building's insulation. A well-insulated building requires less energy to heat and cool,
okay.
which translates to lower energy bills and reduced greenhouse gas emissions.
Makes sense. It's like putting on a warm sweater on a cold day.
Exactly.
You're essentially creating a barrier that prevents heat loss,
Huh.
keeping you comfortable and saving you energy.
Exactly. And the best part is, improving insulation doesn't have to be a major renovation project.
Oh,
There are lots of simple, cost-effective solutions, like adding weather stripping around doors and windows,
right.
sealing air leaks in the attic and basement,
Uh,
and even using insulating window coverings. These small improvements can make a big difference in your building's energy performance.
so step one is to identify those low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
The simple, high-impact actions that can make a noticeable difference. What's next?
Once you've tackled those initial improvements,
Mm-hmm.
the next step is to start thinking about your maintenance practices.
Okay.
This is where moving away from a purely reactive approach
Right.
and incorporating more preventive and predictive strategies can really pay off.
We talked earlier about the different types of maintenance programs: reactive, preventative, predictive, and reliability-centered maintenance. How do you decide which approach is right for your building?
It depends on a variety of factors,
Okay.
including the size and complexity of your building,
Uh,
the types of systems you have in place, your budget, and your overall goals.
Right.
But in general, I'd say that most buildings can benefit from a combination of preventive and predictive maintenance strategies.
So what might that look like in practice?
Let's take the example of your building's HVAC system.
Okay.
A preventive maintenance approach would involve scheduling regular inspections, cleaning, and filter changes.
Okay.
This helps to ensure that the system is operating efficiently
Right.
and prevents minor issues from becoming major problems down the road. It's like taking your car in for regular oil changes and tune-ups.
Right. You're essentially staying ahead of potential problems and keeping the system running smoothly.
Now, predictive maintenance takes things a step further.
Okay.
It involves using sensors and data analysis to monitor the actual condition of the HVAC
All
system
right.
and identify potential issues before they lead to failure.
Okay.
For example, you might install sensors that monitor the temperature,
Uh,
pressure, and vibration of the system's components.
right.
These sensors can detect subtle changes that might indicate a problem is developing,
Yeah.
allowing you to address it before it causes a major disruption.
It's like having a team of expert mechanics constantly monitoring your car's engine,
Exactly.
looking for any signs of trouble.
And this approach can be especially valuable for critical systems where downtime is simply not an option,
Right.
like in a hospital or a data center.
So preventive maintenance is about staying ahead of potential problems.
Yeah.
And predictive maintenance is about using technology to anticipate and address those problems before they even occur.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. But I'm guessing that implementing a predictive maintenance program can be quite complex and expensive, especially for a large building with multiple systems.
It can be,
Right.
but the good news is that technology is becoming more affordable and accessible all the time.
Okay.
There are now lots of companies that offer what are called predictive maintenance services,
Right.
where they provide the sensors, data analysis, and expertise to help you implement a program that fits your needs and budget.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to do it all in-house.
That's great to know. So we've talked about preventive and predictive maintenance.
Right.
What about reliability-centered maintenance, or RCM?
Yeah.
We touched on that briefly earlier.
Uh.
But I'm still a bit fuzzy on how it differs from the other approaches.
RCM is a very powerful maintenance strategy,
Okay.
but it's also the most complex and resource-intensive.
Okay.
It involves a deep dive into the functionality of each system,
Uh-huh.
identifying the critical components,
Right.
and developing a tailored maintenance plan that focuses on preventing failures in those critical components.
Okay.
It's often used in industries where safety and reliability are paramount,
Okay.
like in aviation and nuclear power.
So it's like a highly specialized approach,
Mhm.
reserved for systems where even the smallest failure could have catastrophic consequences.
Exactly. And while RCM might not be necessary for every building,
Right.
the principles behind it can be incredibly valuable when developing your overall O&M strategy.
Okay.
It's about understanding the criticality of each system
Mm-hmm.
and focusing your resources on preventing failures in those areas that matter most.
That makes a lot of sense. So whether you're implementing a simple preventive maintenance program or a more complex RCM approach,
Right.
the key is to be strategic
Yeah.
and focus on those areas that will have the greatest impact on your building's performance and reliability.
Absolutely. And remember, it's not about finding the perfect maintenance program. It's about finding the right approach for your building, your budget, and your goals.
Okay.
And it's an ongoing process.
Right.
As your building ages,
Uh-huh.
your needs will change, and your maintenance strategies should adapt accordingly.
So it's all about being flexible,
Yeah.
adapting to changing circumstances, and constantly looking for ways to improve.
You got it. And that's where data comes in again. By tracking key metrics like energy consumption, equipment performance, and maintenance cost, you can gain valuable insights into how your O&M program is performing
Right.
and identify areas for improvement.
It's like having a feedback loop where you're constantly collecting information,
Exact.
analyzing it, and
Yeah.
using it to make informed decisions about how to optimize your O&M program.
Exactly. And that's one of the most exciting things about O&M. It's a data-driven field, and there's always something new to learn, something new to improve.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
Yeah, we have.
from the basics of O&M and commissioning to the different types of maintenance programs and the importance of data-driven decision-making.
Absolutely.
But I think there's still one crucial element missing from our discussion.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about systems and technology,
Right.
but what about the people involved?
Okay.
After all, even the most sophisticated O&M program won't be successful without a skilled and dedicated team to implement it.
You're absolutely right. The human factor is often overlooked, but it's absolutely essential for success in O&M. You could have best technology, the most comprehensive plans, but without a team that's properly trained, motivated, and empowered, it's all for naught.
So how do we go about building that dream team? What are the key elements of a successful O&M team?
First and foremost, you need to invest in training.
Yeah. Okay.
This is where the T in OMETA really comes into play. Your team needs to have a deep understanding of the building systems,
Right.
the maintenance procedures, and the technology being used. They also need to be able to troubleshoot problems, analyze data, and communicate effectively with each other and with management.
Right. It's not just about knowing how to fix things. It's about understanding how the systems work,
Exactly.
how to optimize their performance, and how to prevent problems from occurring in the first place.
Exactly. And training shouldn't be a one-time event.
Right.
It needs to be ongoing
Hmm.
as technology evolves and new challenges arise.
So it's about creating a culture of continuous learning and improvement.
Absolutely. Another crucial element is communication.
Okay.
The O&M team needs to be able to communicate effectively with each other, with other departments, and with management.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be able to share information,
Right.
report problems, and make recommendations.
Okay.
And they need to feel like their voices are being heard.
So it's not just about having the technical skills. It's also about having the soft skills, communication, teamwork, problem solving. Those
Mhm.
are all essential for a successful O&M team.
You got it. And finally, don't underestimate the importance of empowerment.
Okay.
Your O&M team needs to feel like they have the authority
Hmm.
and the resources to do their jobs effectively.
Right.
They need to feel like they're part of the solution, not just cogs in a machine.
That makes a lot of sense. If you want people to take ownership of their work and be proactive in identifying and solving problems, you need to give them the freedom and the support to do so.
Exactly, and that's where leadership comes in. Effective O&M leadership is about creating a culture of trust, respect, and collaboration where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute their best.
This has been incredibly insightful. I'm starting to see how O&M is so much more than just nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
It's about people, it's about process, it's about data, and it's about creating a culture of continuous improvement.
It really is a fascinating field,
Uh-huh.
and one that's only going to become more important as we strive for greater efficiency, sustainability, and reliability in our buildings.
So we've talked about the importance of a skilled and dedicated O&M team.
Right.
But what about the role of technology? How is technology transforming the world of O&M?
Technology is playing a huge role in the evolution of O&M, making it more efficient, data-driven, and proactive than ever before. We're seeing a convergence of several key technologies that are changing the game.
Okay, let's dive into that. What are some of the most impactful technologies we're seeing in O&M today?
One of the biggest trends is what's called the Internet of Things, or IoT. This involves connecting all sorts of devices and sensors in a building to the Internet,
Uh-huh.
allowing them to collect and share data in real time.
Okay.
Imagine having sensors on your HVAC system, lighting, security system, and even your plumbing, all sending data to a central platform.
So it's like having a nervous system for your building,
Yeah.
where you can monitor the health and performance of all its vital systems in real time.
Exactly. And that data can be used to optimize energy consumption,
Okay.
identify potential problems before they become major issues, and even automate certain tasks.
Right.
For example, you could have sensors that detect when a room is unoccupied and automatically turn off the lights, or a system that adjusts the HVAC settings based on the weather forecast and occupancy patterns.
That's amazing. It sounds like we're moving towards a future where buildings are becoming smarter and more autonomous.
We are, and another exciting development is the use of artificial intelligence, or AI, in O&M. AI algorithms can analyze the vast amounts of data collected by IoT sensors and identify patterns and anomalies that might not be apparent to human operators.
So it's like having a team of expert analysts constantly scrutinizing the data.
Yeah,
looking for any signs of trouble and recommending corrective actions.
exactly. And AI can also be used to develop predictive models that can forecast future equipment failures, allowing you to schedule maintenance proactively and avoid costly downtime.
It sounds like AI is becoming an indispensable tool for O&M professionals, helping them to make better decisions,
Yeah.
optimize building performance, and stay ahead of potential problems.
It is, and there are so many other exciting technologies emerging in the O&M space, like augmented reality, drones, and robotics.
Okay, let's talk about those. How are augmented reality, drones, and robotics being used in O&M?
Augmented reality, or AR, is being used to overlay digital information onto the real world,
Uh-huh.
providing technicians with real-time guidance and instructions as they perform maintenance tasks. Imagine a technician wearing AR glasses. That displays step-by-step instructions for repairing a complex piece of equipment,
Right.
or that highlight potential hazards in a work area.
Wow, that sounds like something straight out of a science fiction movie.
It does, but it's becoming a reality.
That's cool.
AR can significantly improve the efficiency and accuracy of maintenance tasks,
Okay.
reduce errors, and enhance safety.
And what about drones? How are they being used?
Drones are being used to inspect hard-to-reach areas of buildings,
Right.
like roofs, facades, and HVAC systems. They can capture high-resolution images and videos that can be used to identify potential problems,
Okay.
assess damage, and plan repairs.
Right.
This can save time, reduce risks, and provide valuable insights that wouldn't be possible with traditional inspection methods.
So instead of sending a technician up on a scaffolding or rappelling down a building, you can simply send a drone to capture the necessary information. That's incredible.
It is. And drones can also be equipped with sensors that can detect things like heat leaks, gas leaks, and structural damage, providing even more valuable data for O&M teams.
And what about robotics? Are we seeing robots being used in O&M?
We are. Robots are being used to automate repetitive or dangerous tasks like cleaning floors,
Okay.
inspecting pipes, and even performing minor repairs.
Oh, wow.
They can work independently or alongside human technicians,
Uh-huh.
improving efficiency and reducing risks.
This is all so fascinating. It sounds like the future of O&M is going to be incredibly high-tech with smart buildings,
Yeah.
AI-powered systems,
Right.
augmented reality, drones, and robots all working together to optimize performance,
Yeah.
efficiency, and sustainability.
It is exciting.
But I have to wonder, with all this technology, what happens to the human element? Are O&M jobs going to become obsolete?
That's a great question,
Yeah.
and one that a lot of people are asking.
Uh-huh.
While it's true that technology is automating some tasks that were previously done by humans,
Right.
it's also creating new opportunities and changing the nature of O&M work.
So it's not about replacing humans, it's about augmenting their abilities and allowing them to focus on more complex and strategic tasks.
Exactly. O&M professionals of the future will need to be skilled in data analysis, problem solving, and critical thinking. They'll need to be comfortable working with advanced technology
Right.
and collaborating with AI systems. And they'll need to be adaptable and able to learn new skills as the field continues to evolve.
So it's not about losing jobs, it's about transforming jobs and requiring a new set of skills and expertise.
Exactly. And I think this is a really exciting time to be in the O&M field.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp of a major transformation,
Right.
and those who embrace technology and adapt to the changing landscape will be well positioned for success.
This has been an incredible journey so far. We've explored the fundamentals of O&M and commissioning, delved into the different types of maintenance programs, discussed the role of data and technology, and emphasized the importance of building a skilled and dedicated O&M team. But I feel like there's still one crucial piece missing from our puzzle. We've talked about how O&M can save money,
Uh-huh.
improve efficiency, and enhance reliability.
Yeah.
But what about the bigger picture? How does O&M contribute to a more sustainable future?
That's a great question, and one that's at the heart of the modern O&M movement. Sustainability is no longer just a nice-to-have.
Right.
It's a must-have.
It is.
And O&M plays a vital role in achieving our sustainability goals.
Okay, let's unpack that. How does O&M contribute to sustainability?
Well, for starters, buildings are responsible for a significant portion of global energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions.
Okay.
In fact, according to the United Nations Environment Program, buildings account for about 40% of global energy use and 33% of energy-related CO2 emissions.
That's a staggering amount. So simply by making buildings more energy efficient, we can make a huge impact on our environmental footprint.
Absolutely. And that's where O&M comes in.
Okay.
By optimizing building systems,
Uh-huh.
reducing energy waste,
Right.
and implementing sustainable practices, O&M professionals can make a significant contribution to reducing those emissions.
So it's about more than just saving money for building owners. It's about saving the planet.
Exactly. And sustainability goes beyond just energy efficiency.
Okay.
It's also about water conservation,
Right.
waste reduction, and using environmentally friendly materials and products.
Okay.
O&M professionals are increasingly involved in implementing these sustainable practices,
Uh-huh.
ensuring that buildings operate in a way that minimizes their environmental impact throughout their life cycle.
It sounds like O&M is becoming a key driver of sustainability in the built environment.
It is, and this shift towards sustainability is creating new opportunities and challenges for O&M professionals.
Okay.
They need to stay informed about the latest technologies and best practices,
Right.
and they need to be able to integrate sustainability into every aspect of their work.
So it's not just about fixing things anymore. It's about thinking holistically about the environmental impact of buildings and finding ways to minimize that impact.
You got it. And I think this is a really exciting time to be in the O&M field.
Yeah.
We have the opportunity to make a real difference, not just for our clients, but for the planet as a whole.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of O&M. We've learned so much about the evolution of the field, the importance of data and technology, the role of sustainability, and the crucial contributions of O&M professionals. But as we wrap up our discussion, I'd love to leave our listeners with something to ponder.
I'm all ears.
Throughout our conversation, we've talked about O&M in the context of buildings and facilities.
Right.
But I think the principles we've discussed apply far beyond the built environment.
I agree. What are you thinking?
Well, think about it.
Oh.
O&M is really about optimizing performance,
Uh-huh.
preventing problems, and ensuring long-term sustainability.
Yeah.
These principles can be applied to almost any system,
That's
any process, even our own lives.
That's a fascinating perspective.
Yeah,
You're right. The core concepts of O&M are universally applicable. It's about being proactive, data-driven, and focused on continuous improvement.
exactly. So, as we conclude our deep dive, I'd like to challenge our listeners to think about how they can apply the principles of O&M to their own lives.
I love that. It's a great way to bridge the concepts we've discussed to practical application in everyday life.
Yeah.
What are some examples of applying O&M thinking beyond buildings?
Well, think about your health. Are you taking a proactive approach to maintaining your well-being?
Uh-huh.
Like eating a healthy diet, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep? Are you tracking your health metrics,
Right.
like your weight, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels, and using that data to make informed decisions about your lifestyle choices?
That's a great example. It's about being proactive with your health rather than waiting for something to go wrong before taking action.
Exactly. Or think about your finances.
Yeah.
Are you managing your money effectively, creating a budget, tracking your spending, and investing for the future? Or are you taking a more reactive approach, only dealing with financial issues when they arise?
Again, it's about being proactive and strategic rather than reactive and impulsive. And it's about using data to make informed decisions.
Exactly. And the same principles can be applied to your relationships, your career, your hobbies, really any area of your life where you want to optimize performance,
Absolutely.
prevent problems, and achieve long-term success.
I think you've hit on something really profound here. The principles of O&M are really about taking control, making informed choices, and creating a more sustainable and fulfilling life.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm.
So as we conclude our deep dive into the world of operations, maintenance, and commissioning, I encourage you to think about how you can apply these principles to your own life, starting today.
And those who embrace technology and adapt to the changing landscape will be well positioned for success.
This has been an incredible journey so far. We've explored the fundamentals of O&M and commissioning, delved into the different types of maintenance programs, discussed the role of data and technology, and emphasized the importance of building a skilled and dedicated O&M team. But as we wrap up our discussion, I'd love to leave our listeners with something to ponder.
I'm all ears.
Throughout our conversation, we've talked about O&M in the context of buildings and facilities, but I think the principles we've discussed apply far beyond the built environment.
I agree. What are you thinking?
Well, think about it. O&M is really about optimizing performance, preventing problems, and ensuring long-term sustainability. These principles can be applied to almost any system, any process, even our own lives.
That's a fascinating perspective.
Yeah.
You're right. The core concepts of O&M are universally applicable.
Yeah,
It's about being proactive, data-driven, and focused on continuous improvement.
exactly. So, as we conclude our deep dive, I'd like to challenge our listeners to think about how they can apply the principles of O&M to their own lives.
I love that. It's a great way to bridge the concepts we've discussed to practical application in everyday life. What are some examples of applying O&M thinking beyond buildings?
Well, think about your health. Are you taking a proactive approach to maintaining your well being, like eating a healthy diet, exercising regularly, and getting enough sleep? Are you tracking your health metrics like your weight, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels, and using that data to make informed decisions about your lifestyle choices?
That's a great example. It's about being proactive with your health rather than waiting for something to go wrong before taking action.
Exactly. Or think about your finances. Are you managing your money effectively, creating a budget, tracking your spending, and investing for the future? Or are you taking a more reactive approach, only dealing with financial issues when they arise?
Again, it's about being proactive and strategic rather than reactive and impulsive. And it's about using data to make informed decisions.
Exactly. And the same principles can be applied to your relationships, your career, your hobbies, really any area of your life where you want to optimize performance, prevent problems, and achieve long-term success.
I think you've hit on something really profound here. The principles of O&M are really about taking control, making informed choices, and creating a more sustainable and fulfilling life.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So, as we conclude our deep dive into the world of operations, maintenance, and commissioning, I encourage you to think about how you could apply these principles to your own life starting today. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.